So we're still in Terech of Gimel. We're in the middle of the Maila Yisera. This is the third recording from Yerushalayim HaKodesh. So we spoke about this Iyun of Lis Ametz. To gather courage, and why we need to gather courage is because we're afraid, but we don't realize that Lis Ametz, how do we gather courage? How does a person gather courage? We spoke about the fact that a person takes a step back, he gains strength. Right? Every time in the dance, when he's dancing, he gains strength. The hara, he goes one step back, he goes 3 steps forward. So like the famous saying that you take a step backwards to move a step forward. But I was thinking another thing. What is the lis ametz? When I'm going backwards, when I'm taking that step back, where am I going to? I'm going to the place I came from. Excuse me, where did I really come from? I came from the place of Marish Chayra to become Sameach, because I just, Kisha Adam Sameach, a person became happy. So if I came from the place of Marish Chayra, and I'm recognizing that I came from the place of Marish Chayra, so we said that's where I'm gathering strength. But I was thinking deeper. Maybe where I'm really going backwards to is to the intrinsic me, to the real me. Why? Because I lost touch with who I really am. I lost touch with my Inyan HaSimcha, that's my default, like we said last year, my default, my intrinsic platform of who am I when I'm born. I am Kedushas Yisrael. I am Simcha. And just because of events that happened in my life, in my journey of life, different things that brought me down and took me away and disconnected me from Simcha. But when I recognize that when I feel joy, that the joy that I'm feeling is really coming from my intrinsic place, lis ametz, I'm gathering strength. Where am I gathering strength? We said by taking a step back. Where am I taking the step back to? I'm taking the step back to the place of my real place. And then, the Rebbe says, Lis ametz, lirdoif acha Marish Chayra dafka, to gather the strength to chase specifically the Marish Chayra, which we were medayik already, why just the Marish Chayra, and bring it in letoich hasimcha, and bring it into the hasimcha. So again, if hasimcha is where I'm coming from, where my makayr is, I'm bringing myself back to myself. I'm bringing the pretend me into the real me, which is hasimcha, and I'm bringing it into the hasimcha. What am I bringing in? I'm bringing in my depression, my state of depression, into my simcha. How am I bringing it in? By gaining courage. Where am I getting the courage from? I'm taking a step backwards and recognizing that the joy that I'm feeling is coming from the place of Inyan HaSimcha. So therefore I have the power to go bring it in and overpower it and not be afraid of it, which we'll see more about this later in the Torah, Be'ez Hashem. So anyway, just wanted to say that word over here, and maybe that's meduyik lahachnis oisa gam kain b'toich hasimcha, to bring the Marish Chayra also into simcha, because what I'm identifying is that you Marish Chayra, you really came from hasimcha. You came after hasimcha. Hasimcha was there before. So I'm saying, let's go back to the place that you were there, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. Maybe we'll talk about it a drop now, is in the Inyan of Simcha, in the real place of Simcha. So that's the place where the dance of the Marish Chayra and the Simcha, the Yoga V'Anocha, which we'll see soon, and the Sosam and Simcha dance together all the time, and it's constantly being nishapich to Simcha. So long as it's in the circle of HaSimcha, and it's coming from Mitoich HaSimcha, then even the Yoga V'Anocha must convert itself into Simcha. Which means that in the source of Inyan HaSimcha, the original dance is Yoga V'Anocha and Sosam Simcha, not our Yoga V'Anocha and Sosam Simcha. The Yoga V'Anocha that there is in the Bria, in Olam Hazeh, is dancing with the Sosam and Simcha that's coming from the Eibishter, which is from Olam Haba. They're dancing together in that place. What happened? The Yoga V'Anocha removed itself to the side and found somebody to attach itself to and bring him down into the Yoga V'Anocha. Found another guy to attach himself, another Ishach, and another Ishach, and another Ishach. The Yoga V'Anocha keeps going to find that and bringing them down that separate the person from its source of hasimcha. But truth is that Yagam V'Anocha dances with Simcha in its real source. And if Yagam V'Anocha dances in its real source, then it's Ma'irdik Meduyik in the words, Lahachnes Oisa Gam came b'toicha Simcha. Because why am I telling Marish Chayra to go back? Because Marish Chayra, you came after HaSimcha. So I want you to go back like I'm going back to my place of HaSimcha, to my intrinsic me. You go back to your intrinsic you, where you were dancing with Simcha. When you were dancing with Simcha, you were Sameach Imayim Gamken. I think it's a gewaldige diuk. Okay, let's go weiter. Zog the Heilige Rebbe ba'oifen sha'marash chayra. So that means gather strength to chase after the marash chayra and bring it into the hasimcha in a way. Very important words here. Ba'oifen sha'marash chayra ba'atzma tesapech l'simcha. The way I'm attacking it and confronting it is not the way I always confronted it. I'm attacking it in the way where, by confronting it, by chasing it, it's automatically by itself going to convert itself to simcha. Because I am the energy that I'm giving, like we said in the mashal, the energy that is radiating, because I'm connected to the place of ha-simcha, and my sameach right now has that energy. The Marish Chayra also by itself understands that it's going to be nesabach l'simcha because I'm chasing it. When I'm not chasing it, and he's not on my radar, then he's standing on the side and he's just waiting. And soon we'll see the next how it's meduyik later in the Torah. So the Marish Chayra stands on the side and he waits because he knows it's a moment. Oh, you're feeling sameach right now. You have joy now that you're feeling gewaldig. I know, Nachman. It's only temporary, and as soon as it's over, boom, I'm right back. So he stands on the side. But when he recognizes that it's on your radar to go after him, as soon as you start chasing him, he's running, and he's running away. And we'll see that later on in the Torah. It's much more medui. But the point is that the Marish Chayra, when it's running, has to run into Simcha, which we'll see later. Be'ez Hashem. Zog the Heilige Rebbe, it's just Ma'irdik. It's just, every word here is just, it seems like this Torah, and I've learned this so many times in my life, and it's so it's a small Torah, and it seems like a sicha. And when you get to be medayik and you start listening to the messages become so big and so relevant, and the more you expand on it, the more you find yourself in it. It's just unbelievable. So the Rebbe is telling us, you know how you attack, how you chase? In a way where the Marish Chayra itself will convert itself to Simcha. Now the Rebbe changes the lashon. First he says that the Marish Chayra by itself will transform to Simcha. Now he's saying like we're doing a move to be mahapich the Marish Chayra v'chol ha'yisurim l'simcha. We're going to be mahapich, like we're transforming. So which one is it? Are we transforming it, or is it being transformed? And the Torah says it's both. Because by us chasing it, we don't have to actually go into it and dwell in it. We just have to chase it. We have to not be afraid of it. If we're not afraid to confront our Marish Chayra and say, hey, come here, Mr. Urge. Come here, Mr. Monkey. Come here, Mr. Worry. Come here and let's talk now. When I'm joyous, nothing is going to be stronger than my joy. So I don't actually have to delve into it. I just need to chase it and not leave it on the side, not leave space for it. Make sure that I'm chasing it. As soon as I'm chasing it, it will itself convert itself because it's in the circle, which again, we'll see that soon. Says the Rebbe, now he brings back Yisurim. You're going to convert the Marish Chayra v'chol ha'yisurim. Like now, it's not just before it was individual. We said ish echad, and we said it's alone, and don't attack all of them at once. But once you attack the source of the pain, then all the pain I'm not afraid of. I'm not afraid of pain. I'm not afraid because I have power. My power is that my sameach is coming from hasimcha, which is the real me. And that place, there's power. I can deal with all the yisur, maybe not all the Marish Chayras. Soon we'll see the Rebbe says another lashon, but the Marish Chayra, but the yischol ha'yisurim, the simcha. Now the Rebbe says, Kederech habala toicha simcha. just like the person who comes into hasimcha, she'oz migoydel hasimcha v'achedva, mahapech kol hadaigas v'atzos v'marash chodesh shalei l'toich simcha l'simcha. So he's saying like this, just like when a person who's coming into simcha, hasimcha, because of the great bigness of the hasimcha and the chedva, which what's the difference between simcha and chedva? He will convert and transform all his worries, all his sadness and gloominess. All of a sudden, atzvus is back, and all his depressions, plural, that are his shaloi, hamarash chodesh shaloi l'simcha. We got to listen to every single word here. It's mamash. Every word has a question here. Because is this a new mashal? First of all, the Rebbe brought a mashal in the beginning about smeichem and meragdim, and now he's saying kederech haba l'toich hasimcha. Just like the way is when a person comes into simcha, then because of the great simcha and joy that he's feeling, the power of that simcha, he can convert all his worries, his sadness, and his marash chodesh into simcha. Wait a second. There's a new mashal, or is this still the first mashal? In the first mashal, we weren't talking about kederech sheba l'toich hasimcha, unless we were. That means that the smeichem and meragdim people, and we could see that, the typical example of simcha it would be when a person is making chasna, or a person himself is getting married, or simchas Torah. When you're coming in, you want to be connected to simcha. It's like you again, simcha. Where is simcha? We need to understand where is simcha. So let's bring up what everybody knows. Bes simcha is machshava, and simcha is the word shamayach. So simcha is in the most pneumiistic place of the person, which is in his machshava, which is in his mayach. So again, it's his state of mind. What is that state of mind? What is that place of simcha? We said is kedusha, which we'll see later in the Torah. So that means that's the default, that's the platform. The platform is in the most pneumius me, in the real me, which is kedusha, which is Hashem, the chelik elikay mimal. That is simcha. That is hasimcha. And we said when we come in to hasimcha, we are searching to be. How do we come into hasimcha? How do we get besimcha and simchas Torah? How do we get besimcha in the time of the chasna? The external event of the chasna or simchas Torah, whatever it is reminding us to go into our place, into the place of where we really live and reside. Our place is the place of hasimcha. Says the Rebbe that when I go with this remedy and I gather strength and I chase my marash chodesh and I bring it into ha-simcha in a way that the marash chodesh itself will convert itself to simcha just by me chasing it, so then all my marash chodesh and my yisurim are going to convert to simcha like kederech haba l'toich hasimcha. So perhaps it really isn't the first mashal. It's not a new mashal, or maybe it is another mashal. That in the mashal of smeichem and meragdim, where did bnei Adam smeichem and meragdim come from? Because they went in to l'toich hasimcha. They went into themselves. And when you go into that place of ha-simcha, even though you think it's an external place, it's the most internal place of you, that because of the bigness that you recognize, because of the external simcha, you recognize the bigness, the feeling that you have inside, no worries, no atzos, and all of my marash chodesh. We have to understand, all of a sudden it became marash chodesh plural, and the Rebbe calls it marash chodesh shaloi l'simcha. Now he doesn't say hasimcha. So in other words, the mashal is like a guy that's going into hasimcha because of the power of the simcha. He can transform all his worries and his into simcha. So therefore, so l'chayra, there is three stages here. There is hasimcha, which is the kedusha, which is the most internal part. There is simcha, and then there's sameach. And we'll talk about this hopefully, because I don't have it clear yet, but it seems like what the Rebbe is teaching us here is that the most pneumiistic place of me is hasimcha, and that has the infectious power to expand and continuously bring the outside, the thing that's bachutz, internally, and expand the circle, and that the circle really starts in the most pneumiistic place of hasimcha, and it brings in simcha, and which causes sameach, and everything lives in the same circle of Litoich Hasimcha. Ashreinu.